This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. All right. Praise God. My friends, once again, welcome to our very final session of the Voiceover In and Out for the 2025 training season. Spring 2026 will begin next month. And so stay tuned to our newsletter for all the details about that. I am very, very excited to, in just a few minutes, we're going to take your questions about anything Apple related. But before that, I'm very excited to be joined by a good friend of mine. Dave, are you able to unmute? Are you here with us? We'll give him a moment there. And let's see. Make sure that okay. Let's check that. That's interesting because thought I did this, but let's try this again. Okay. Now let's see if
There we are.
There we are. How you doing?
Oh, thank God, brother. So great to be with you. What a privilege it is to be with you and all of the members of your class here. It's an absolute
Absolutely.
privilege, brother.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you, and I really appreciate your willingness. Dave comes to us from Sky's the Limit Communications. I'll let him
Yes.
introduce himself in a moment, and it's just been a joy to work with you, and of course, looking forward to many more things to come. But Dave and I have known each other for quite some time, and he may fill in the gaps of that story, but Dave, I'm looking at I'm thinking about your resume, and I thought it'd be better to let you tell everybody a little about yourself. And, when you do this, keep in mind everybody wants to eat dinner tonight, because you got such a long resume.
Yes.
You've been involved in so much throughout your life. Give the folks just a brief introduction, if you would.
Well, I'll start from the beginning. First, the Earth cooled. Am I going back too far? Is that?
Well, maybe just a little.
Speed it up a little. There was the
Right.
dinosaurs.
Fast forward a few years. Yeah.
Dinosaurs, and then there's got hot again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, I was born and raised in Belleville, New Jersey, and as my friend Tom McVeigh likes to say, I came into this world with nothing, and I've got most of it left. And I was born in Belleville, New Jersey. Retinitis pigmentosa caused my blindness. Parents, first generation from Italy, no advanced degrees like many of you. I was very fortunate to be very involved in the Association of Blind Athletes. I had so many good experiences there. I went to college at East Stroudsburg University in Pennsylvania. It's where I met my wife, Marianne. I've worked as a job developer, a job coach, an assistive technology instructor. I was the coordinator of assistive technology services, New Jersey Commission for the Blind. I went and got my master's degree, and I became the director of the Pennsylvania Bureau of Blindness, the executive director of the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. And in 2018, we started our own company. I live in Hershey, PA, with my wife, Marianne, our 3 adult kids, David, Mary, Kate, and Emily. We own a company, Sky's the Limit, and we do lots of training in the pre-employment transition services space, as well as the older blind space. And that's really, I've gotten to work with Matt, and he is one of the most amazing instructors. And I've seen him mesmerize audiences of hundreds of people, and people stand in line, and he's generous with his time, and waited online to talk to him for over an hour, because people wanted to meet him and learn from him. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be with you today. I love technology. I love the thought access equals success. When we can access the same information as our classmates, neighbors, colleagues, or peers, we can get the same education, training, and of course, jobs. Privileged to be with you today, brother.
Well, same to you. Thank you so much. It's a joy to have you. You know, you mentioned the athlete part of this, which of course, we don't talk much about because we're usually working on other things and we're,
Right.
so involved in that. But was it wrestling? Was that where I remember that
I
right?
was wrestling and powerlifting. I was involved in wrestling and powerlifting. My, Matt, my gym teacher in high school, I was very blessed in Belleville, New Jersey. My gym teacher in high school, he won the 1976 Olympics in Olympic lifting, Phil Grapoldi, and he was, when you hang around greatness, and you learn from it, you can get great. And so he was my gym teacher all through elementary school and then middle school. And then he said, Dave, you're not going to play baseball or football. He says, let's focus on the things that you can do well. That's weightlifting and wrestling. And he helped me focus on those things. And I was very blessed and, got to go to college on a college wrestling scholarship. And I've had a lot of great experiences because of sports, and you learn things from sports. You learn the power of persistence. You learn about goal setting. You learn about team building. You learn about self-discipline. So sports has taught me a lot, Matt.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I find that so fascinating. And my son is now he's fully sighted and he
Yeah.
is very, very interested in UFC and follows it very closely.
Yes.
And of course, I've been totally blind since I was 3. So, my son and I have had a lot of activities that we've done together, but it's never been like throwing the football or, that type of thing. So now as an 18-year-old, he thinks that I'm the perfect one for him to grapple with in his
Oh,
UFC practice. And, I allow it because it is a father and son kind of bonding thing, but maybe
right.
someday you can give me some tips. I can
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
I can actually have a chance of winning a little bit. I'm always on the defense with this
yeah.
child.
Well, it's like cane travel. It's a contact sport,
Yep.
and so I'm sure the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So
That's what I have heard as well.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And folks, Dave is the man to talk to. I mean, if I mean, man, as he said, job transition, job readiness, preparedness for the workforce, for daily living skills, all of. I mean, it's just amazing, and to watch the things that he's done, and his passion for it, and his ability to convey. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that David could convince an Alaskan that they need more ice.
Well,
He's very, very good at what he does.
there's global
Phenomenal.
warming, Matt. There's global
Well, there you go.
warming.
That's right.
Yeah,
There you go.
and so we
There you
sure
go.
have to. You never be too sure. You never be
Yeah,
too
that's
sure.
exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And one of Dave's trademarks, which I don't know if he's prepared with this today because I didn't give him any notice, but one of his trademarks is that when you join Dave on a Zoom meeting, you are almost guaranteed that his presentation will be accompanied by sound effects. And
I'll see if I can make this work for you, Matt. Keep going.
see if yeah, see if so as we're presenting, as we're having discussions and so on, if I were to say that based upon looking at the clock and seeing what time it is, um we might hear a sound effect that would allow us to know that we're really looking at a clock, or if I say we're gonna move on, we're gonna move ahead, we might hear a fast forwarding sound, or you just never know what you're gonna get from Dave. There's laughter, there's bells, and there's buzzers, and it's a lot of fun to work with Dave. With he's got a very advanced setup. He uses a Mac for a lot of it now, I believe, right?
So Matt, I absolutely. I love like we learn. Can you hear me, okay, Matt?
Yes, I can hear you. Yep, that sounds good.
And that's coming through.
Yep. Yep, your voice is coming through. Yeah.
And no sound effects
No
at the
sound
moment.
effects yet. No sound effects yet.
So I'm using a little. So I think we're I think it's blocking out the background sound here.
Oh, yeah, and you it might be, and I have all your privileges should be enabled, but it may just be a setting somewhere,
Let me
and that's
see.
okay. That's it's a one of those things.
Yes, exactly. So we do love using sound effects, and Matt was really helped me. Matt, and I wanted to log in from the MacBook. I was just having a problem with the link, and I was getting worried, so I logged in
Yeah.
from my phone.
Okay.
But if you
Oh,
but if you yes, but if you give me a minute, I can try one more time. But to say that during COVID, and being with you on your last meeting is an honor, right? I know that you've covered a lot of different things. Well, being it was COVID, and I lost. I got it was February of is this out 20,
yeah.
and
Yep.
and I lost $80,000 of work in 1 week. And it was like June, July. And I'm like, how are these people canceling all these programs? And, like it's February, but, they cancel all these programs. So I had to figure out a way to can we make virtual fun? And so I was at I was at Staples, and my son said, "Oh, there's a sound machine," and then we were able to connect that little mixer to the computer and to Zoom and to turn some of the more advanced audio, and then there was applause and boo and things like that. And then talking to Matt's like, if you connect your iPhone to that, you could use this app called Backpack, and then have unlimited sounds. And I'm like, really? And so then Matt kept just keep giving you these ideas. And then I was telling him how frustrated I was. I said, when I travel, when things opened up, I was traveling, but I had to bring my laptop, I had to bring a mixer, I had to bring an iPad. I had to bring a microphone. It was and then getting it all to work. Right? It was fine to get that all to work when you were at home, but get that to work remotely, it didn't always work.
Just for the record, David, I'm the one who told Matt about backpack, so you can give me all the credit.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you. I appreciate you clearing that up right away. And
Someone had to. So
yes. And so Matt and Cliff, they helped me figure out, well, you could do this all on the Mac. And I'm like, well, I was a JAWS user. I mean, I've been using computers since 1988. I got my first 8088 computer. I was using Vert and Arctic Business Vision, and then JAWS since the mid 90s. And then going to the Mac is really an amazing transition. But Matt and Cliff gave me all kinds of ideas, and then Matt's like, you don't need to bring all that stuff. You can get a MacBook and a pair of AirPods and just do all that. I said, you think I can do? I can get. I don't have to carry all this other stuff. No, you don't have to carry all that stuff around. And they were right. And I have traveled all over the world and being able to have remote meetings, make meetings fun. Learning can be fun with sound effects, music, prizes. So we figured out a way to make that fun, and we've been very blessed to have contracts with many states, and we do all kinds of productivity. iOS productivity and Android productivity, AI solutions for job search problems, advocacy trainings. And using the sound effects like as if we're at like we do. Many of you will remember from PBS, Masterpiece Theater. Well, we came up with Disaster Cease Theater, and we put the students through these disasters, And, how are you going to react? The professor won't let you go on the archaeological dig because, you're blind. Your parents won't let you, go out with your friends on Friday night because, you're not, you can't see well at night because of night blindness. What are you going to do about this? Putting people in these different, because if you could simulate it now, you could emulate it later. And, making skits fun and things like that. But it's been, a real blessing to be able to make these sound effects work. Matt, if you give me, I'll know within 20 seconds if I can make this work.
Okay. All right. Not a problem.
Messages, big boss, emoji, pick, record, search, conversation.
And I have unmuted Sarah as well, and of course Cliff. Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Hard to believe it's our final session.
Yeah. It looks like most people got on board here.
Yes, it does.
Make link, maybe.
Was it just scheduled to end today or something?
I don't know. That's my thinking. I'll just go ahead and take the blame for it. But as I was saying in the beginning, I don't think you were here yet when I was saying this, that there is another meeting I had that had no end date and somehow also disappeared. So I don't really know.
Well, and then I was having a hard time again today to get to the list of people. So I had to go to more again. So there's something weird going on.
Matt,
Yeah.
you're disappointing. I mean, you're married to a math teacher and you still didn't calculate correctly. I'm disappointed in you, man.
Wait, what did he do incorrectly?
He calculated the dates incorrectly.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, the wrong century.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Who knows?
it could,
Hey, man, it worked out better last year when you had us going all the way into 2026. You should have did the
that,
same
at least
thing.
we know we have. But as I said, the weird thing is another one of my meetings disappeared today, so I don't know what is going on with that. But
it's a Zoom thing, Matt, because like 3 months ago, and I had this meeting for the last 3 years as reoccurring, my Sports Talk podcast link, and it just disappeared. I had to create a new one. I'm like,
Hey,
if
Matt,
it's a Zoom thing, it's got to be.
If you could unmute my alter ego, that'd be great.
Okay, let me take a look here.
I assume it's Zoom user at the top.
Okay, here we go. All right, you should be good to go. All right, hopefully that'll do it.
I wonder why Zoom doesn't allow you to create breakout rooms from iOS. It doesn't even let you do it from the iPad.
It doesn't even from the iPad?
No, I was working with the crew, a few people last night, trying to do, try some different experiments, for the ACB bit stuff. But anyways, yeah, there's no way to create breakout rooms from the iPad either. I found that kind of interesting, but how many people are in here? I can't even find a participants list.
34.
Yeah.
And Cliff, that's where I was at. Is I had to go to the more button to get to the
you
number.
said your gremlins over here to interfere with my phone.
Sorry, that was all my fault. Sorry. That's all I can say. I keep trying to keep the gremlins corralled. I put them in the bathroom, they get out. I put them in the pantry, they get out.
Stop feeding them after midnight.
Whoa. There goes the sound effect.
There's some sound effects.
And clapping.
Hey,
all right.
David, I'm about to steal that cash register one from you. I like that one.
Wow. There. That's awesome. That's
David,
cool.
Is that the sound pack that you shared with us a year or so ago, or is that a different one?
Are those ringtones?
I think that is. I think I could send you those new ones, but I'm pretty sure that's what I sent you a while ago. I'm using Farrago. So we're
Well,
using
I
free.
know you're using Virago because
Yeah.
me and you've worked on that together.
You
So
know
I don't.
that you're a master. You're a master of it.
I do a few things with
And
it, but
that one I do have to very grudgingly give Cliff credit for, because that was Cliff's baby on Virago and Loopback, and it is a great solution, that's for sure.
Well, it's like now hold your horses, Matt. Now hold
no.
your horses. You're gonna
Yeah, I
really give
like
him
that. Yeah,
credit
send me
for
that
that.
sound back. I don't think I
Yeah,
have that one.
there
Yeah.
will be no complimenting of Cliff on this call.
Right.
Thank you. And then we have our breaking news. With going over to the newsroom, Matt Volbrick, he's got some breaking news that we need to hear about. So over to the news desk is our friend Matthew Volbrick. Matthew, over to you.
And in our top news today, we just see, you don't want to give me that much power. We are what we asked Dave to and before we actually do, let me ask you one other question, Dave, because we've been talking to these folks about the importance of, among other things, learning these fundamentals so that you can easily edit your notes and create, use the calendar and all these things that you and I have talked about so many times. Would you just share quickly your perspective on all of that? Because working with students and transitioning and so forth, you have really seen firsthand how important that is.
I have, and I like to think of the ABCs. A is for access equals success. B is for Braille and for literacy, and C is can you travel from where you are to where you want to go independently. And so I have just found, I've been so blessed to help hundreds of people who are blind or vision impaired find jobs, right? And it's knowing that people can use the technology. You got to be able to write things down. William James, the father of psychology, said no thing is more mentally fatiguing than the holding on to the uncompleted task. Nothing is more mentally fatiguing. Who needs to be mentally fatigued? Nothing is more mentally fatiguing than the holding onto the uncompleted task. We've got to be able to write things down. You can't just think it, you got to ink it. Leonardo da Vinci said a bunch of drops of ink will really help you think. And I like to thought a bunch of little dots helps me remember lots. And it is so important that we can help people to be great note takers. I don't care how you do it. I care that you do it. If you want to use a slate and stylus, if you want to use a digital recorder, if you want to use your iPhone and notes, if you want to use your Braille display, I don't care. But you got to have a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. You've got to be able to write things down. If you can't organize your day, you can't organize your thoughts, you can't organize your week or your life or your month or your year. So that is Matt, why I love teaching iOS productivity and other trainings like that with you. How do we use the Notes app? How do we organize our thoughts? How do we organize our notes? How do we, stay organized with the clock and the calendar and the reminders? How do we use Safari to do research? So I'm not just taking ABC or NBC or Fox News's approach. I could do my own research. So
Exactly.
that's what I'm thinking, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly right. And what we are going to do now, and that was so well said. So there's so much that we could do, and Dave will call me sometime and say, have you heard about this or that new technology? Or recently he had the opportunity to ride in a Waymo, one of those self-driving taxis. And if there's time,
right,
maybe he'll share more about that. But and I would like to do that if we have time. But as I'm looking at the clock, thinking about the time ticking by so quickly,
yes.
I think we'll get to the Exactly. It is. It really is. And I think we'll get to the sort of the main event here first and then see what we have time for. I've asked Dave to come because he's an avid Braille user. And one of the times that he called me recently, one of them was about the Waymo and the Tesla, but another one was about, he said, have you tried the Braille access features in iOS 26? And I said, these really, really sound awesome. And we, of course, talked about Braille last week. So I'd like for Dave, if he would, to share for a few minutes a little bit of discussion, possibly some demos of the Braille access feature, BRF files, Nemeth calculations, all of these things now possible on our iOS devices with a Braille display. Dave?
So, Matt, can you hear me okay?
We sure can. Yep.
All right. Let me see here. I am going to think about how I'm doing this. All right. So, Matt, I am not sure if I'll be able to. You'll be able to get the audio, but I'll read. I'll certainly verbalize everything that's on my Braille display.
Okay, that sounds great.
So right now, I am connected. Okay, is there a way that I can do it? I want to try one thing, Matt. I'm going to try one thing.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Matt, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So you can hear me. Yeah, no. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to pull that off. Okay. So I am using a Braille display, and I do not believe it matters what Braille display you're using. Maybe you're using the Braille display that you got from the National Library Service, or maybe you're using an APH 20 cell Chameleon, or maybe you're using the 40 cell Mantis. That's a QWERTY keyboard. Or maybe you're using a 40 cell Brilliant from Humanware. That's what's in front of me right now. So I like the Brilliant from Humanware. I do not sell them. I do not sell any hardware. So in iOS 26, we can do dots 7 and 8. Now I've Bluetoothed. I have Bluetoothed my iPhone I have Bluetoothed my iPhone. Let me see. I have Bluetooth. Trying to figure out how I could do this. No. I have Bluetooth my iPhone to my Braille display, or I have my MacBook connected to my Braille display as well. So right now, it doesn't matter what device you're connected to, your MacBook or your iPhone, as long as your Braille display is connected to it. Now, I'm like right now, I'm moving around, and I'm going to do, like it says, my Apple folder. I have all my folders I have all my folders in alphabetical order. So I have my Ira folder. I have my Alexa folder. I have my books folder. I have my calendars folder, things like that. So right now, I'm just moving around on my iPhone using my Braille display. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hit dots 7 and 8 on my Braille display. And it says Braille access on. And then it says, let's see here. Let me try this again here. I'm going to connect it like that. Okay. So when I do dots 7 and 8, it says, the first thing it says is launch app. Okay. And launch app, if I hit dots 8, or if I tap on the Braille display on above the word launch or app,
If I type the word MES, then my Messages app will pop up on my iPhone and it will bring me directly to whatever app I'm searching for. So this is a quick way to search for apps on your phone. So if you want to search, you go to .7 and 8 and you forget where Safari is. Maybe you don't want to use your voice output, .7 and 8, and launch app. And then you can type in whatever app you're looking for and launch the app that way. That's option number one. I just hit the next button on my Braille display. The next option, the second option is Braille Notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down the menu and I'm going to come back to Braille Notes. So option one was launch apps. You'd launch that app. You'd stay within the iPhone. Next app is Braille Notes, and that's that would be in a virtual mode. Next is BRF file reader. And if you had some BRF files on your phone or on your Braille device, you can read them through there. Next is Nemeth calculator, and that is pretty self-explanatory. Next is live captions. This is so very impressive for people who are deafblind. If you were to hit enter on this, anything that you say or the person in front of you says will come up in Braille on this Braille display. And now, for instance, if I was to go into that feature right now, it says listening now. Now, what's on my Braille display is still the words, now it says listening now. If I use the next key on my Braille display, it will go down to the next thing I said. It says, now what is on my Braille display is the words, now it says listening now. So it's not refreshing right away. It's just you're going to arrow down through the conversation, not to make it confusing. To get out of this, spacebar B.
And Dave, if I were to talk, like if you're on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call like this, is it also providing what I say as well?
Yes.
Okay. That's amazing.
Correct. As long as it can hear you, yes.
Yep.
Now, Dave, do you have a Mantis yourself?
I have a Mantis. I'm using right now a 40 cell Braille, a BI40 from Humanware.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But the reason I ask you that is because you say .7 and 8, and as you know, the Mantis has a QWERTY. So where would they find those keys on that Braille display?
I don't know what the hotkey is.
Now, I do know that you can make
Cliff.
the left side of, or not the left side, but the right side of the QWERTY, the Braille keyboard per se, or I guess the QR, STR, and then the UI. Anyways, you can make it into the Braille keyboard. So maybe there's a way to do it that way, but I've never played around with that.
I'll try to research that with one of our friendly AIs while he's presenting here and see if I can get an answer
Matt.
for that.
Yeah, exactly. How do you launch the virtual Braille mode on the Mantis? Yeah.
Okay.
Now, is there a way to do it with BSI?
With the what?
With BSI, Braille screen input, because a lot of the blind community love BSI. Instead of using a Braille display, they'll use Braille screen input. So, is this Braille access accessible through BSI?
I don't. Matt, Cliff, I'm not really sure.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, all right. Just thought I'd ask because I do know there's a lot of people out there who do use Braille screen input, of people who are here on this call and that do listen to the podcast. So I just thought I'd throw it out there.
No, it's a very good question, Cliff. This is all real new.
Yeah, it is.
So going down that list, launch apps, Braille notes, BRF files, Nemeth calculator, live captions, then the time,
and the time, which is nice. It has the time and it has the seconds running. So right now it says 2:36:29, 2:36:30, 31. That keeps running, and then there's a close button, and then we loop around, back around. But what Matt wanted me to show you was going into the Braille notes. Going into the Braille notes, you can go Braille note. It says new note. I hit enter or hit the button above the word new note, and it says new note or new folder, and I'm going to do a new note, and then it just gives you two brackets, and now I'm going to type in here. Now this does not talk at all. This is not talking at all. This is only Braille mode. Even if you have the speech function turned on your Braille display, this is not talking at all.
And to
Okay.
be clear, Dave, this is Braille notes, not iOS or iPad OS notes. This is a
That is
separate
so
situation.
correct. We
Okay.
are in a virtual mode right now. We are on the iPhone. You could be anywhere on your iPhone or anywhere on the Mac, and doing dots 7 and 8 on the Braille display will bring you into the virtual Braille mode.
Okay.
And so then Cliff, so so then the new note is saved. I think they're having a problem with this part still, Cliff, and someone wants to correct me. I have not seen it repaired in 26.1 yet, but these notes that you save here, they're on your Braille display, but then they also, Cliff, are to be synced with our iCloud account. I think
Okay.
we're
Okay.
having a
Have you
problem.
tried
But they're
updating
not
the
yet
26.2
doing
yet?
that. They're not actually supposed. They're not working in
It's
the
that's
notes
not
app
it's
yet.
not yet, Matt. I don't
Okay.
think
Okay.
so.
And I did get, not to interrupt you, but I did get an answer on both of those other questions.
Yes.
So currently, Braille access mode does require a physical tactile Braille display. You cannot use it with BSI alone. But if your Braille display has only a QWERTY keyboard, there are other ways to enable Braille access mode. You can add it to the rotor. You can add it to quick settings. You can go to voiceover settings and turn it on. And you can even assign a QWERTY keyboard shortcut to Braille access mode to turn it off and on.
Oh wow, very good, Matt. Very
Okay.
good.
Okay. It's about
Um,
time you did some work.
yep, yep. Good job. Good job. I the listening mode for people who are deafblind is an absolute, game changer. I think, really impressive. The notes, the notes that you take in here, like Matt, I think sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right?
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I've gotten some of the notes to sync and some of the notes haven't. What I have, so when I go in here and then I type a note, right? Hi, and like when if you try to read that with I see this more as like a little scratch pad for us. If you try to read it, unless you write really good, um it's gonna kind of come out with some odd symbols.
Now, Dad, you mentioned that you didn't think it was going to work on 26, that it's not working on 26.1. 26.2 public is out. Have you updated and tried it there?
I don't know. I think I'm up to date, Cliff, but I'm
Okay.
gonna look.
Because 26.2 did come out last Thursday or Wednesday, I think it was.
And we've already seen a lot of improvements in 26.3 beta, which of course we can't talk about publicly yet, but I would say that may even be, helpful too at some point.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know, something that's I think really important, like Cliff, I'm not. It says update now, so I'm on.
Okay.
I will update that, and I could.
Okay.
I'll
I'll
report
I'll
back to
remind you
Matt.
before you get off here, but
yeah.
send me an email so I can get your contact info again. That way we can chat a little bit off of here and not,
I'd love to,
distract
buddy.
people.
I'd
Okay.
love to. Thank you, Cliff.
No
Uh,
problem.
I have just been doing this long enough to know that literacy is the key that unlocks the door for people. And, if we can help people, master, some of this tech, to be organized, they can have opportunities that they might not have. And so, being able to take notes, like sometimes using, like if you want to use your braille display and notes, I mean, it could be a little clunky, but you can get it to work.
Yeah, yeah.
But the fact that you could kind of just do this here, it's your scratch pad, and the fact that it will sync with our iCloud one day, I think that's
Right.
really good stuff.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And the BRF support. And now, how does you may have mentioned this while I was talking to ChatGPT, so I
Sure.
apologize if it's redundant, but how does the
Yeah.
Nemeth calculator work? How is that used?
So, let me back out of this. The Nemeth calculator, back, barrel notes, Nemeth calculator, go into the calculator, and you're going to use Nemeth Braille to get the information you're looking for.
Okay, okay.
And Matt, I'm not sure. It doesn't look that there's a very helpful, context sensitive, when you some of the braille displays, you could do alt H, or spacebar H or spacebar M, and get some context sensitive help. So that does seem to be a little bit of something that would be useful. If you don't remember, what is the sign for Nemeth Braille division? I think it's the CH sign, but I'm not sure. So like things like that would be
Right,
helpful.
right. Absolutely, absolutely.
But it's very, I would say, it's for version 1, Matt. There's a lot of great potential here that I know that if I'm in a meeting and I just want to take some quick notes, and you give me that phone number real fast. I use those .78, and that's been a good way for me to you know
That's a great way to launch it
capture
too.
information quick.
I use a Braille Emotion, and that has a Braille Perkins style keyboard. So that would be a great way to do that instead of having to go to a folder, open my messages, and
Yup,
then get
yup.
a note
Right,
ready. So
right,
Oh no,
right.
Cliff, it's so fast. 7 and 8, arrow down to Braille notes, new note real fast. Touch on it. Okay, it's a blank screen. You're not like moving, around on your iPhone, and your phone's talking, and
right.
they're talking.
And
So
I think another thing you said before too is important, and we need to emphasize that because literacy is something that has, I ain't gonna say gone by the wayside, but people don't care about it no more because they have screen readers, they have autocorrect and stuff like that. But being able to see something in front of you with your own fingertips per se
yeah, yeah.
tells you. I mean, I became a bad speller when I started using screen readers because I didn't have to look at the word anymore. But now that they have braille displays that can connect to multiple devices and increase your workflow, I think that's very important. I'm glad you brought that up because literacy is definitely important for people not to
Oh
always use a
yes.
screen reader or autocorrect. I mean, you see how to spell the word yourself.
You know what?
Well,
People,
yeah.
and I say that to people all the time. You may never learn how to spell Czechoslovakia if you don't have a braille display. I mean, so and knowing how words are spelled, and knowing how names are spelled. I mean, there's
Well,
nothing worse than spelling someone's name wrong.
yeah, and especially, I mean, in any situation, especially a professional setting, you're applying for a job or something, and I would just add to that because I think it speaks to the broader point of, it is the technology, as we've said before, and we've talked about this with AI and other things. It's always a tool. It's not a replacement for the human. And when you are using spell check, I mean, there's nothing wrong with using autocorrect. I have autocorrect enabled. I
Sure,
use the misspelled words feature. I use it all the time. But
sure.
when I do that, I'm also saying, oh, I spelled this word wrong. Well, let me look. How do you really spell that so that maybe I'll remember for next time? And maybe I
Yep.
won't. But, the hope is you learn a little bit as you go so that you are continuing to build that literacy and those skills. Absolutely.
And to build off
And
what
that,
you talk about, Matt, because there's a lot of students, and I don't get mad about it because it's the way the screen reader pronounces it. But you always tell people that Stir is spelled with a U. Well, you're probably gonna have to start saying Cliff is spelled with a K, because everybody that emails me from the class always spells my name with a C and an F.
Right. Oh, that's true. Yeah, because a lot of people CLIFF. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep. Cliff is my Cliff is spelled with a K and a PH. So
Yep. And
well, look at
stir it
that.
up is spelled with
Yeah,
a U, not
yeah.
an I. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So
Um.
I know, Matt. I remember I was writing a letter to my new boss, and I wrote, "Dear Kathy, Cathy," and then she wrote back and said, "Hey, just so you know, with your screen reader, it's Kathy with a K." And I'm like, wow, she gave me some grace, right?
Right.
She gave me
Right.
some grace, but like
Right.
other people would have been like, you can't even spell my name right. So
Right. Right.
very, very,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very important. And Matt, just to say this, if the National Library Service is, sending out these braille displays, there's no reason we all shouldn't have one. And I'm not the really biggest fan of the firmware that's on them, but the fact that we could Bluetooth it to our iPhones or whatever, or USB them to our computers, please go get them and use them.
Yep. Yep. That is that's awesome. That's powerful.
Might be the best Christmas gift you get.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate that. And if you are able to stick around for a few minutes, maybe some folks will have some questions for you.
thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.